For those that don't know about it, can you briefly tell us what basic income is?
So a basic income is an income for the basic needs. And the thought is that this basic needs has not be strictly bounded by some conditions. It's necessary to have it for everybody, and it's much more good to give it free as a basic, unconditional for everybody. It's not. It does not depend on what you are doing, how much you are earning. It's not depending if you are working or not, employed or not employed, living alone or living in a community. It is just focusing the individual, focusing the human being, and not circumstances, not functions. And that, I guess, is a necessary basis for the challenges of work we have and the challenges in the world we have now.
You've been very successful with the media hype. You just recently set the Guinness Book of World Record for the largest poster. You dropped 400,000 Swiss francs on the Platz at Bern.
It's 8 million, like 8 million inhabitants in Switzerland, residents, and it was about 50 tons of money. It was a golden mountain, and it was a picture that the money is there. It's not about the money. It's about the unconditional. It's about to abolish some ideologies and to make a carpet for the people, a living carpet that we can spend to everybody this amount.
My favorite picture from that is the man vacuuming up the money.
Yes, again.
That had to be the greatest day.
It was not for free, you know. It has to come back to the National Bank.
Do you have any figures for us about how many people are for it?
Yeah, everybody is for it in the whole world, but they don't know it yet. And
how many people want it? How many people would work? How many people wouldn't work?
Okay, yeah, that's really a question. And we wanted to know that also. And so we did a survey last December in Switzerland. So there are many in other countries, and there are many pilot projects. But the result of this was that 2% of the people will quit their job. So thanks God, it's good for them. They don't stand in the factory or in the company and making something bad. And 8% will think about. So at least 10% of the people will quit the job or think about, and that does not mean that they don't work anything. They work other things. And all the rest, 90%, want to work further on. And ask you yourself, will I stop working if for my basic needs is taken care of? So not you yourself, but it's always the others. More than 50% said they want to have more time for their children, for families, for social things. 50% of the people said they want to have more time to educate, and 40% of the people said they want to have more time for free working, volunteering working. So there's a demand by everybody to do something good to others, and that's the reason to work, to have a responsibility to do something good for others. And 13% said they want to change the job. 22% said they want to become a freelancer, self-employed.
So you mentioned jobs that people don't want to do. What does this mean for people doing the dirty work?
An unconditional basic income? Yeah, they can say no. That's the first. And that's brilliant. That, you see, freedom is not always to can do what you want, but to can know to that what you really don't want to do. You cannot be forced to do anything or everything for money, and that's the brilliant thing. And the question, who cleans the toilets or who do this work, what especially we boss don't want to do. But the others, you know, it's an old thought of the time of slavery, the others has to do the work I don't want to do, but that's necessary to be done. So think a bit, be a bit intelligent, then you have to pay it better. if this work is necessary, then it's valuable, it's to appreciate. An unconditional basic income creates a huge incentive to create better work conditions, more appreciation, more same eye level, and it's not so easily to don't listen to the other, to don't be aware, to don't do care to the others, but it's a more equal floor. It's an equal floor in society, and that means a lot by better work conditions. And as I say, at least, why not pay this better?
This all sounds great, but everybody I've asked, they all love the idea, but then they don't know how it's going to work. So what do you say to the skeptics?
Yeah, precisely to say is you have to start the campaign, the idea, the discussion, everybody is invited, we will create it together. It's not a fixed and finished model and just a calculation. That's the first point, to believe, to have trust to what we are thinking, and that we can do it. And then it's, for me, related to direct democracy. So there's a lack in the world of democracy, we have to renew it. And then, how does it work financially, for example, is that you can imagine if there's an unconditional basic floor for everybody, then wages can decrease about this amount. So wages and all other incomes does no longer have the task to livelihood. They no longer have this task to ensure existence. That's taken over by an unconditional basic income we give each other. And by this, when wages fall, salaries in the public sector, private sector, also social benefit securities can decrease about this amount, then costs of labor decrease, then costs of productions decrease. And then, for example, if you have a price for this, I don't know what this, maybe 3 francs, and because of lower costs in the other incomes, because they can decrease, about this amount of an unconditional basic income that has everybody, the costs will fall. And they fall about what? About that amount, what's no longer included, contained in the existing incomes. And this part, what becomes free, the space that becomes available in the former prices, is to finance the unconditional basic income in the same way like we finance today incomes. So, you know, every income, all incomes are financed by the prices. And it will become a proportion in the prices for the unconditional basic income and a smaller proportion for the other existing incomes. That's the principle. So there are many details. We have a few weeks' time to discuss it later, but that's the first.
We've talked about the people, we've talked about the idea. How does the money feel about this?
The money?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Therefore, I went in a bank. I want to know, how does the money feel? So everybody is keen of getting money, but nobody is asking what we are doing with the money, how awful it is for the money to be misused for all these horrible things. And I think, for me, even if it sounds funny, but to free the money is a thing for artists to do, or even for bankers. So creativity and a kind of art is in every job. To look to the money, to do good with the money is, maybe it sounds a bit crazy, but at least, why not? Let's have to look how we create it. You know, we don't know how we create money, and we think that's a miracle, that's far away. No, it's understandable that we create money by giving trust and giving the right to act, to initiative to each other. That's the creation of money, and that means it's not so much part of economy, it's much more democratic right.
Do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to add before we end?
Yeah, of course, many. So we just started a bit of view in this ongoing movement. And what I want to say is that it concerns to everybody. It's not the rich for the poor, not feudalism. It is a new challenge and requirement to rethink things, to be responsible. It's one step more to more freedom and more responsibility, as we have had in history every time. It's not so new, but it is a step in history. And it's as difficult as it was to understand that we really should abolish slavery, that there is such an astonishing idea of human rights, and that we do this awful thing to allow everybody to vote and to decide within the society to introduce direct democracy. So when you have a look in the past, what our grandfathers and grandmothers did, you see they fighted for what we have. And we have to do a step further on. And it's the same like introducing democracy and the other things I called, to go this risky step to an unconditional basic income for everybody, to give this trust in society and to strengthen civil society, opposed and in partnership to what's going on in economy, but in a way independent, to say who is the top of it? We are, the people are, you are, it's all about you, and take this to you to lead society and not to be led by the systems.
Well, thank you, Enno. It's been a pleasure, and welcome.
It's a pleasure for me, thank you.